Hi there. So today I'm with Lorna from All About the Sew. Hi there, Lorna.
Hi, Sarah.
So All About the Sew. Tell us all about your project, your business.
So, All About the Sew is me. I run sewing workshops in the Solihull and surrounding areas. So, I try and cater for a range of abilities, ranging from beginners to improvers. So, basically, sharing my passion of sewing. I absolutely love sewing, and I've always loved teaching people new skills. So, that is basically my business idea, that I'm basically going out and spreading my love of sewing.
So how long have you been sewing for? Is it a childhood passion, or
So I had lessons at school, like a lot of people do. I made a patchwork cushion, I think was the first thing I ever made, and then we had to make a summer skirt. And then I didn't really do anything after that. I didn't go into anything creative in my previous job. So I was a physiotherapist before this business. So it was nothing creative at all. But I've always had a creative part of me, hobbies wise. My mum taught me to knit. So I knitted for quite a bit before sewing. But I've grown up around sewing because my mum sewed mine and my sister's clothes and her clothes because it was cheaper when I was younger back then to make clothes. So but it wasn't until my daughter was a couple of years old that my mum was making her little dresses and things. And when life started to calm down a little bit, I thought, I want to give that a go. So made a little dress for her with my mum's help, and just thought, this is great. And so moved on to making a top for myself, and just thought that, this is brilliant. And so it's kind of started from then, really. So that's kind of about 7 years ago now, I would say 6-7 years ago, so relatively recently.
And how long has the business been in operation then? So
2 years. So I've just had my second birthday.
Fantastic. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite an achievement itself, isn't it? I mean, there's some statistic that businesses don't last more than 12 or 24 months. So that's really brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And do you find that, so you mentioned two kind of, let's call them traditional skills, if you like, sewing and knitting. Do you find that those are massively on the comeback and more interest is in those again?
Definitely. I think people take up sewing and crafts for different reasons. As I say, I think when my mum did it when I was younger, it was cheaper to make your own clothes. And I'm not necessarily sure that that's the case now with the cost of fabric, etc. But I think there is a massive therapeutic benefit for crafts in general, and I found it from sewing, where you are completely engrossed in an activity, forgetting about anything else. You are using your hands, you're making something, so you've got an end product at the end. So there's a massive sense of pride, self-esteem boost that you've actually done this. So there's lots of growing evidence that that's the reason why people are doing it. And I think also these skills are going to be lost if we don't spread them and encourage them. With kids on their computers and screen time, it is worrying that some of these skills are going to be lost. So that's another reason why I want to spread them. But I do think, programs like the Great British Sewing Bee have done wonders. And, it's massive in America. It's not quite so big over here, but certainly I've seen the sewing community online has increased, and lots of young people taking it up as well, because I think the stereotype of someone sewing and knitting is not really someone young, and there are a lot of people who are wanting to make their own clothes, to be unique, have one-off pieces. Lots of people are buying stuff from charity shops and upcycling and refashioning things. I definitely think it's something that more and more people are taking interest in.
That's great. And I think that certainly, like you mentioned about the charity shop issue of, the ethics behind clothing and fashion now, it's fabulous to take on something that has had a previous life but give it a new one is is absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
think for somebody like me, well, in fact, for probably most of us, I think, watching this video, that life is busy, isn't it? And so to actually commit to have some time out to do something and learn something that is a real helpful and enjoyable skill is actually really precious, and something we ought to do more often, I think.
I think a lot of people kind of that come on the workshops, you know, probably some of them do have the skills to do what they're doing, and they could do it at home on their own, but it is, people say this is my me time, this is like me booking it out, because if I didn't do this, then the other things would take.
I can appreciate that. Fantastic. And so you mentioned at the beginning that your workshops are for sort of all abilities of sewing. So take me, for example. I can just about use my sewing machine, although I haven't touched it for years. So really, I would consider myself a beginner. Am I okay on your workshop as a sort of a not really done much before?
You are a perfect person to come on to my workshops. So for example, a beginner's workshop, you don't have to have used a sewing machine at all. I actually love it when people have not used a machine before, because it is completely starting from scratch. But I do, quite a common scenario is people who may have had lessons at school, or maybe did some sewing in the past but haven't done anything for years, so want kind of a refresher. So in those sort of classes, we literally start off from scratch. So we learn how to wind a bobbin, thread the machine up, learn the basic stitches, nothing too complicated, just keeping it simple, getting people confident. And then we choose a simple project. So you always make something in those kind of classes to take away at the end. So a straightforward project like a cushion cover or a tote bag, that people learn the skills and then put the skills into practice there and then, and have something to take away with them, which is brilliant, because it's a real sense of achievement. They can go home going, look what I've made, and hopefully then want to do some more.
So do the next project, doesn't it? I think that confidence is key, isn't it? Because you think, oh, I'm going to do it wrong, but actually, well, even if you did, so what? Anything can be unpicked, I guess. And you know, but it's all a learning curve, I imagine.
It's a barrier to some people that quite a few people have been given sewing machines for Christmas or birthdays, and it's still stuck in the box or in the loft. Or some people have had like sewing machines handed down to them and they don't know how to use, but they'd love to. So it really is. You know, I've had some people say to me, you've given me the confidence to go away and get that machine out of the box now and just to have a go, because it doesn't matter if I do something wrong. It's not the end of the world. So even just a few key skills can, you know, really get you started.
Oh, what a wonderful feeling for both you and them, you know.
I love it. There's nothing more I love seeing people just get on board with it, and just, you never know quite which way it's going to go. You think that someone's not really getting it or enjoying it and thinking, do you know what, it'd just be easier to go out and buy one, but actually then it's kind of those kind of people that surprise you, and they're just like, I love this, I am going to go and buy a sewing machine tomorrow. Brilliant. So it's great. I love it.
Wonderful. And so you mentioned just celebrating your 2 years, which is wonderful. What would you say would be your sort of key piece of advice for somebody setting up in business now?
So I would say I am a bit of a researchy person, so I think do your research before you start, because I think you need to know your market, and I think you need to know whether there is a potential for your business idea. So I did do some market research. I did some, I used to have friends. I started off basically getting friends together with their sewing machines, and, you know, sort of people were getting on board with it, and I realised that there could be, you know, the market out there, but I think ultimately until you start, you don't really know, and so with that in mind, we kind of decided how much money that we were sort of willing to put on the line, if you like, and if it didn't work, which, you know, there was you know, a high kind of, you know, chance that it wouldn't really, like you said about the statistics about startups, that you know, if it did go pear-shaped, nothing ventured, nothing gained. You know, we haven't remortgaged our house, you know, so I kept my startup costs relatively low and then just built up from there, really. But I think, I know I like to do my research, but you can sit around and do paper exercises and write amazing business plans and think about it and talk about it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you do just have to take a leap of faith.
Just right. And so let's think about 10 years down the line. What would have happened between now and then? What's the vision for All About the Sew?
So I have a dream that, and it's been a dream for quite a few years now, to have my own haberdashery. I love going around exploring different places. When you come across a, you know, new little village and you see kind of like stitchy haberdashery shop, you know, take a detour, go in and have a mooch. And I just think what a dream job that would be, to, you know, do what you love, spread that to others, work, you know, just have a place filled with beautiful fabrics and notions and trims, and have a workshop side to it as well, and basically be like this creative hub. Like, people come in for a cup of tea and just be inspired and just enjoy all things creative. So that's the dream. It's not, at the moment where I am in my life, you know, my kids are still young. It's, you know, not something that but you know, 10 years time, maybe, let's hope so.
Wonderful. I look forward to seeing that all come to fruition. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Lorna. We're going to pop up all of your contact details on the screen in a moment, so people can contact you whichever way is easiest for them. So thank you very much indeed. And it's been wonderful hearing All About the Sew.
Thanks, Sarah.